The project management system allows you to create and manage project lists. Each project type has a specific workflow and individual tasks that need to be completed in order to proceed to the next step. This particular video focuses on creating new project templates and workflows within the system. To begin, make sure you're within the Projects section of the platform. You can get there by selecting the Projects item in the Go To drop-down box in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. The first screen that gets displayed is the Project Dashboard. This will show you any tasks or open project types that are assigned to you. To create and manage templates, choose the Setup tab located at the top of the screen. The Setup area is broken down into two sections, Templates and Teams. Project templates are repeatable workflow processes that users follow in order to complete their assigned tasks. To modify an existing template, simply choose the name of the template below. To create a new template, select the New Project Template button. In the field provided, give the template a name, so we'll name this Call Campaign. Next, choose if you would like to attach this template to a service catalog. Service catalogs are e-commerce catalogs that enable ordering of the service to initiate the project. For this example, we'll choose the Yes option. And finally, you can decide if you would like to attach marketing tactics to this template. Attaching marketing tactics to the template automatically adds those tactics to the accounts when a project is initiated. For this example, we'll keep it selected as No, and then we'll choose the Save button. This saves the template and brings us to the Workflow screen. Project templates are broken into two components, milestones and tasks. Milestones are the group of related tasks within the project workflow, and tasks are the actions that need to be taken by the user. The first step of the workflow when creating a new project template is to create the very first milestone. For this example, my first milestone will be my planning phase, so I'll name this milestone Planning. You also have the option to provide a short description of this milestone. When you're finished, select the Save button at the bottom of the page. This creates the first milestone, and now we can begin adding actions to this particular milestone. To create a new action, simply choose the New Action button underneath the milestone. Provide the action a name, so my first action will be to identify who's working on this particular project. So I'll name it Identify Project Team. Next, you need to choose your action type, and you have a few options here. It could be a calendar entry, an email that you want to send out to be either automated or manual. It could be a form that needs to be filled out by a contact or by a user. It could be identifying team roles, or it could be a quick task. And a quick task is basically just choosing a checkbox stating that this particular task or action was completed. Because I'm identifying my project team, I'm going to choose the Identify Roles action. Again, these are the people that need to be identified that are working on this particular project. Now we need to choose which roles need to be identified for this template. To identify the roles, choose the Select the Roles that need to be identified button. This loads a list of roles that have been previously created. If you need to create a new role, simply choose the New Role button. For this example, I'll choose a role that's been previously created, so I'll place a check in the box next to MCON Rep, and then scroll down to the bottom of the page and choose the Add Selected Roles to the Action button. This returns us to the action, and as you can see, the MCON Rep is now a role that needs to be identified. We now need to choose how this action gets assigned. It could either be manually assigned by a user or automatically based on the user's or customer's role. This particular action needs to be assigned manually by the user. We also have the option to determine how many business days or work hours it will take in order for this particular action to be completed. For this example, I'll just say that it will take 1 full business day for it to be completed. And the final option here is if you would like to prevent users from continuing on to the next step without completing this step. I'm definitely going to check that one off because I want them identifying the project team before they begin working on additional actions within this particular project. So I place a check in the box, and now I'll hit the Save button. This returns us back to the workflow screen, and as you can see, my first action, which is Identify Project Team, has been completed. Let's go ahead and create a new action under the same milestone. So we'll select the New Action button again, and we will give it a name. So I will name this Pick Technology Offer and Messaging. You will notice a new options appeared here, and it's basically asking you if work on this action that I'm creating is dependent upon completion of a previous action. As you can see, the user cannot work on this action unless the Identify Project Team has been completed. We'll leave that option selected, but if there were additional steps in the project, you could choose the appropriate option here in the drop-down box. We now need to choose our action type. Again, you have the same options as you saw before. In this case, we will actually make this a form that the user needs to fill out. So they'll need to choose the correct technology and messaging for this particular call campaign. We now need to select our form, so we'll choose the Select the Form button. This loads a list of forms that have been previously created. If you do need to create a new form from scratch, you'll simply select the New Form button and follow the form wizard. I already have a form created, so I'm just going to quickly search for it using this search function. The name of my form is Technology Focus. Choose the Insert to Project button on the right hand side, and this will insert this particular form to this action. We now need to choose how this action is assigned. Again, you can assign it manually or automatically. This option will actually choose the automatic option here, and then we'll assign this to the MCON rep. So that basically means it'll be assigned to the appropriate MCON rep. We now need to choose how many business days or hours it will take to complete this action. And again, we'll just keep it simple and we'll set it to 1 business day here. And then finally, would you like to prevent this project from continuing on to the next step without completing this action? We do, so I'll place a check in the box here, and now I'll click the Save button. This returns us back to our workflow, and as you can see, the next action in my planning milestone has been created. Let's go ahead and add a third and final action to our planning milestone. So I'll select the New Action button. We'll name the action. This time it'll be Develop List of Prospects. Choose if this is dependent upon the completion of a previous action. So we'll just leave this selected as to what it was, default. And this time we'll actually keep the action type as a quick task. Again, a quick task is one simple task. The user just needs to go in and press an option that says this has been completed. We can assign this action either manually or automatically based on a role. So again, we'll set this to be automatic, and the role that this will be assigned to is the MCON rep. We need to choose how many business days. Again, we'll just say, to keep it simple, 1 business day. And then finally, we can prevent the user from continuing on to the next step without completing this step. So we'll place this option here. When we're finished, select the Save button. This will return us back to the workflow screen, and as you can see, my third and final action has been added to my planning milestone. Let's go ahead and create a new milestone now. Since we're done with our planning phase, we'll click the New Milestone button. We'll give the milestone a name. We'll call this the review phase. This is to review the data that's been collected for the call campaign. We can give the milestone a short description, and then we can also make the milestone dependent upon the completion of a previous milestone. In this case would be the planning milestone. We'll just leave it set to planning. When you're finished, select the Save button. This returns us back to our workflow screen, and as you can see, the review milestone has been created. Now that our new milestone has been created, we can go ahead and add the last action to our entire template. So I'll choose the New Action option. We'll provide the action a name, and this will be to gather the updates and the metrics. We need to choose an action type. Again, this time we will choose form that the user will be filling out. We need to select our form. Choose to select the form button. We'll search for the form that's been previously created. The form is named metric capture, so I'll just type in metric. Here it is, the first one. I'll choose insert to project. This returns us back out to the project action screen. As you can see, it added that form to this particular action type. I now need to choose if it's manually assigned or automatically, and we'll choose automatically, and then we will assign this to the MCon rep. And then again, we need to choose how many business days or hours it will take. We'll enter 1. And again, we can prevent the user from continuing to the next step without completing the step first. But since this will be the last step of my entire workflow, I'll leave that unchecked. Click the Save button, and that returns us back to the workflow screen. And as you can see, the Gather Updates and Result Metrics has been added. If you need to delete a milestone or action that you've created, you'll just simply put a check in the box next to the action or milestone and select the Delete Check button. If you need to sort your milestones, you would simply choose the Sort Milestone button. If you remember earlier when we were first creating the project template, there was a section asking if we would like to create or attach a services catalog to this particular project, and we selected yes. So to add that service, select the Services tab at the top of the screen. Provide the service a name, so we'll name it Call Campaign. You can give it a short description, and then you can give it a detailed description at the bottom of the page. When you're finished, select the Save button. This loads the service details page, and this is where you can create your individual SKUs. To create a SKU, select the New SKU button. Define the SKU, so give it a name, so we'll name it Telemarketing. Enter the SKU, we'll just name this TM001, and then a short description. You can enter pricing, so the MSRP for this particular service, and then the cost, and this is optional. If the service has multiple options that the customer must choose before ordering this particular item, you can add them by choosing the Add Options button. When you're finished building out this SKU, select the Save button. This creates the SKU and adds it to my Call Campaign service. Your customers can now order this service, and it will automatically create the project type that we created. You can also export this service catalog out of the system by choosing the Export button in the upper right-hand corner.